Today we're going to start reading a new book titled Stink and the Freaky Frog Freakout. Stink. I think I've heard of this character Stink. Are you making a connection with another story that we read with a character named Stink? Let's continue and find out. Okay, what I want to show you today is I want to show you how we can monitor and clarify our understanding as we read this passage. So I'm going to begin reading. It says, Judy Moody, oops, I read that wrong. Let me read it again. Judy Moody's younger brother Stink. Ah, the younger brother. That's right. I remember Judy Moody had a younger brother named Stink. Has been finding frogs all over the place, at the pool, in his boot, even in the bathtub. When Stink and his friends visit a nature center to learn about frogs, they find out about the first annual Frog Neck Lake frog count. Annual. What does that mean? Let me read around it and see if I can understand what that means. It says, find out about the first annual Frog Neck Lake frog count. Well, it's a first. It might happen again sometime, but I'm not really sure what annual means. This is one of those words that I might have to look up, and they give me the definition down here at the bottom. So these are little tools that the author has given us that when they think there's a word that you may not understand, they might write it down here. So I'm going to stop and I'm going to read what annual means. It says annual. An annual event happens once each year. Oh, okay. So this Frog Neck Lake frog count is going to happen again, but this is the first time it's ever happened. Oh, okay. Now I can keep reading because now I understand. I clarified what I was reading. It says, before he can participate in the late night adventure, though, Stink has to study different frogs and the sounds that they make and pass a quiz. Okay, this is where it gets hard because these aren't even real words. They're just made up words. So I'm going to have to try to sound them out. So I'm using my decoding skills to sound them out. That first word is creep, croak, squink. Oh, those are sounds. Oh, okay. That's the sounds that the frogs are making. Oh, okay. Stink listened to frog calls on the computer. He listened to frog sounds that he taped with his own tape recorder. What? He taped it like a piece of tape? He stuck it on something? That doesn't make any sense. I gotta read that again. He listened. Okay, so he's listening to it, to frog sounds that he taped on his own tape recorder. Oh, yeah, okay. I remember my grandmother has a tape recorder. We don't have a tape recorder because we don't use tape recorders anymore. I could get the sounds on my cell phone or something, but back in the olden days they used tape recorders. I remember going to my grandmother's house and we'd have to push the button and we'd talk into the microphone and then I could listen to, so for some reason he's still using a tape recorder. Okay, now I understand. I didn't understand for a minute. I thought he was sticking it like a piece of tape, but that didn't make sense. So I had to read it again. Okay, now I understand. So I'm going to read that sentence again, all over again. It says, Stink listened to frog calls on the computer. He listened to frog sounds that he taped with his own tape recorder by sticking it out the window at night. Stink listened to frog calls on the way to school, Monday morning, and in the car on the way to swim lessons. Breep, croak, squeak. At swim practice, he tried some out on his friends. You sound like a duck, said Webster. You sound like a squeak toy, said Sophie. You sound like a sick banjo, said Riley. Thanks, said Stink. See, spring peepers sound like squeak toys. Spring peepers? What is a spring peeper? I don't know what a spring peeper is. I've never heard of spring peeper. Let me keep reading and see if it helps me. The wood frogs sound like ducks quacking. Oh, okay, so wood frogs is kind of frog. So And he's making frog sounds, so spring people must be a kind of frog. All right. Okay, so, and would frogs sound like ducks quacking? You're quacked, said Webster. Sophie and Riley cracked up. You guys sound like southern leopard frogs. A leopard frog sounds like a person laughing. No lie. Yeah, but nothing sounds like a sick banjo, said Riley. Nothing except for the northern green frog. It sounds like a loose banjo string. What's a banjo? I wonder what a banjo is. I don't know what a banjo is. I'll have to look that one up in a little bit, but I'm going to keep reading now. You know, like a rubber band twang? Oh, I kept reading and so a banjo must sound like a rubber band twang. Okay. So I kept reading and it made it a little bit clearer to me, more clear to me. It gave me clarity. So boys and girls, what I was showing you is I was giving you some examples of how that sometimes we have to sound those words out. We got to decode them. Sometimes we need to reread it. Sometimes we have to ask ourselves questions. Sometimes we have to think about things that we already know, like my grandmother had a tape recorder. And these are ways that we monitor our reading and we clarify to make sure that we really understand.